Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing sort of an updated full series review for the Walking Dead television series. Alright, good stuff. So I thought it'd be a good idea to go ahead and kind of do a video like this and give my thoughts on the series up to current date. Kind of a general, overview type review, which I have done before at one time or another, but a lot of things have changed. And of course, now we're into the final quarter, so to speak, of season 4. So I think it makes sense to be able to, at this point, kind of compare the different seasons and what I think about each, and sort of just to do a general overview type review because I haven't done one for a really long time and the series has changed a lot. That said, I had vacation time last week from work, so that was nice, and was able to go ahead and re-marathon some of the seasons of The Walking Dead, just because I love it so much. I mean, there's other shows out there too that I check out, but The Walking Dead is one that I can watch over again, and I love it. I still have so much enjoyment out of it, where some other series, if I try a new one, which I do try new series too, but some of them I like, some of them I don't like. The Walking Dead, I know it's always going to be awesome. So what I did is, since I haven't seen seasons 2 and 3 for a while, I mean, season 3, of course, I watched a lot last year as I was reviewing it and everything, each episode probably at least twice, but I mean, a year later, there's things you forget from it. Season 2, actually, I haven't seen for a long time. It's been at least a year and a half since I've rewatched season 2. So, because I do the channel and everything, do so many Walking Dead topics, it's a good idea for me if I have time to make sure I'm remembering everything correctly and fuzzy logic doesn't set in, so I don't forget things, right? So that's why I chose to go ahead and just kind of rewatch over them. I skip a few parts here and there if they're slower, that type of thing, but definitely a lot of episodes that would really, even though I know what happens and everything, still really cool to see. So what I did is I started at the beginning of season 2 and kind of rewatched it from there, because season 1 I had already seen so many times, and last summer I actually rewatched season 1 because I did reviews for each of the episodes, since I had deleted them from my channels a long time ago. I actually started reviewing The Walking Dead, the very first episode of the first season, way back when. It was a different channel, my first channel. This is Trev's channel too, because it's my second channel. I had another one previous to this, and I had some copyright trouble, and I used pictures and stuff like that, so I had to erase the reviews. So I redid them for season 1. They're in the channel now. Reviews of every episode are in the channel, this channel. But that said, I had already watched season 1 during the summertime, so I skipped that because that's fairly recent. But season 2, it's been a while since I've actually watched, and watching it now, after everything has changed and we're almost at the end of season 4, I wanted to give my thoughts kind of retrospectively on how I feel about it. So season 1, it's short but sweet. It's a great season. It's an amazing start to an amazing series, but it's only 6 episodes, and I think in comparison to the others, that's the weakness of season 1. Now, it made sense for them to do only 6 at the beginning because they were just trying to see if it was going to work. It was a big budget show. It's not as easy to make as, I don't know, 2.5 Men or something, where you just have a couple people, joking around, sitting around in an apartment or something. I mean, you want to talk about budget. Like, how low budget is that aside from paying Charlie Sheen $3 million an episode, or whatever the case may be, even though he's not on the show anymore? But that's not the point. You guys get what I'm saying. The Walking Dead is very difficult to do because you need such a big budget, you need so many people involved, you need zombies, you need environments, you need set designs, and the thing is just crazy. So it makes sense for the first season to try it first to see if it's going to work, and of course it did. But it's still a great season. There's some amazing stuff from it, like, for example, being able to see the Atlanta cityscape in a zombie apocalypse is really cool. We haven't seen anything like it since. We had some great stuff in there, of course, with Rick, Lori, Carl, Shane. That's probably the main concentration, and everything else, all the other characters were sort of, they were there, and there was some development for them and some stuff going on with them, but it was kind of pushed to the background, with the main theme being the Rick, Carl, Lori, and Shane whole situation, with all the others in there too, but not at the forefront. Whereas now in the series, we're starting to see a lot of these other characters that were in the background come to the forefront, like Daryl, Beth, Maggie, Glenn, all the others as well too. Even Carol, who I never thought was going to get development, this season has really had a lot of stuff going on with her, which is really cool, because I do like in The Walking Dead how they had the whole thing with Rick, Shane, Lori, but after a couple seasons, they killed it, and they, okay, where do we go from here versus just making the whole show about that back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Because, there's some soap operas like that just goes on for years and years, of just like, oh, this person's in love with this person, now this person's in love with that person, blah, 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 blah. This is a zombie apocalypse. How long do we really want to see that for? So I really liked how they resolved that in the second season and went forward. That said, first season was great, short but sweet, and concentrated on Rick, Shane, and Lori's whole thing. So the second season, we still see the continuation of that right through. But, of course, we get the addition of Herschel's family, everyone on the farm, Beth, Maggie, all the rest, Herschel himself, of course, and Patricia, the others. And then, of course, we see sort of Rick's group interact with them. And it's kind of funny to go back and rewatch it again because I forgot how much concentration Season 2 had on Shane. He was like the forefront character for Season 2. Even though, of course, it's Rick's show still. And we get to see, like, in Season 3 and 4, Rick is the leader. He's the front man, that type of thing. But in Season 2, it's like Shane almost has like more time, in the series than Rick almost here and there. And there's a lot of things I forgot about that happened at the farm, like Shane, like Herschel hating Shane and and all the things that happened with that. Sophia in the barn, man, that was really, really well handled. But the thing with Season 2, the problem with it was the farm got, at least for me anyway, as a viewer, I got tired of seeing the farm after a little while, I mean, there was a lot of episodes right in the middle there. The first episode, What Lies Ahead, is amazing. The highway and everything. It's one of the best premieres ever, for a TV series. But then after that, the farm just kind of, it's there and it doesn't change and it just sort of gets tiring after a while. So, I am really glad that they're not going back to the farm this season and they're kind of leaving that in the past. And we're just moving forward from there. So I do like a lot of the character development in Season 2, particularly the Shane stuff. Rick doesn't get as much. It's more of like the struggle between him and Shane and what happens between them. 18 Miles Out, really great stuff. That's a really special episode when they fight and it's really exciting and everything. Sophia, pretty much dead already. Love it. And, forgot. It's weird because even though, Carol's there, during those episodes, she doesn't get a whole lot of time. Like, she gets a little bit with the thing with Sophia, but that's about it, and then she's kind of forced into the background again for a while. We also see some good stuff with Daryl in there. Merle is not in the series during Season 2. And then, of course, by the end, you've got Randall, Dave, and Tony, their group. Had to look this one up because I kind of forgotten, but it seems like if anybody was wondering, from what I can tell online and what I've researched, Dave, Tony, and Randall are not from the Governor's Group. They're not from Woodbury. Based on what is said during the series, it doesn't seem like they would be part. Their description of their group, which is mostly male, about 30 guys or so, and from Philadelphia on the road, a traveling type group. Not part of the Governor's Group. So that's something that sometimes people wonder. Anyway, the end of Season 2, we get the death of Dale, which I didn't like too much. I'll talk more about that when I talk about the deaths and what character deaths I would change. Then we have, of course, Shane's death, which I thought was handled really well. I would have liked to see Shane kind of go off on his own, which he almost does a few times. I would have liked to see how that would turn out. But it's kind of cool how sort of like in that season, which is something we haven't seen since, the enemy for Rick or the antagonist is a part of the group. Shane is a part of the group. And, that's really different from what we see afterwards where you have the governor who's this outside leader of another strong group versus the prison group. Shane is a part of that group. So it's definitely a different feel as a result of that. And I do like it quite a bit. Let me know what you guys felt about Season 2 and having the antagonist a part of the actual group itself. So turmoil within the group and a struggle for leadership. It was good stuff. I really liked it personally. So that was good stuff, but the problem with the first two seasons, or at least the things about it that I wasn't the biggest fan of, is that up until that point, the group and the size of the show, the cast, the amount of people involved, up until Season 3, it was pretty small. You had a pretty close-knit group. You had the number of survivors that were part of Rick's group, or Rick and Shane's group, however you want to look at it. But then you don't really have too much else. I mean, Randall comes in, Dave and Tony, yeah, they came in, but Herschel's family added on, and it was a natural progression to increase in the size of numbers, right? But then season 3, so Shane dies. We get a couple of deaths near the end there. Dale, Shane, Patricia, the others. And then season 3 hits, and it's like they add on all of Woodbury at once. And upon watching season 3 again, man, I really realized how much I love season 3 of The Walking Dead, because it just takes where they're at season 2, and it's like it adds a whole ton of characters. Now, technically, Michonne's first appearance was in the last episode of season 2, if you want to. Technically, it was, but it wasn't actually the same actress. It was just, I believe, like a person wearing the cloak and everything, and they didn't have her, Denai Guerrera cast yet as the actress for Michonne. But then season 3 starts, and we add on Michonne. We add on Merle back again, which was amazing how they did that. They took a character that had sort of like a cameo in the series and was kind of a plot device for Daryl, getting to know him and them going back into Atlanta. Seemed like a time filler almost, to be honest with you, and for the first season. And then they expanded him to just this just amazing character in the 3rd season. I loved it, man. What they did with Merle in the 3rd season, just incredible. You have, of course, the governor, his daughter, Milton. Andrea gets a huge concentration in season 3, and all these other characters they add on from Woodbury. I'm talking about Karen. Even Tyrese's group makes an appearance. You've got the prisoners. You've got Oscar, who, of course, and Axel, who, of course, die. Andrew. And then, of course, you have 2 huge deaths, which, even though the Shane death was probably the biggest death overall, I almost want to say, the Lori and T-Dog deaths in Killer Within were just absolutely incredible to watch. And I remember after that happening, the amount of viewership for the show and the demand for what people thought of the show just went, it skyrocketed. People couldn't believe that they would kill off, your protagonist's wife, It was just, oh man, so crazy. So you've got that, you've got the prison, which comes in, which is a totally new environment, which I have to say, I found the prison as an environment to be a lot more interesting than the farm. And also another thing that happens too is the group stops using guns and rifles all the time against walkers. In season 2 and early season 1, everyone's terrified of zombies. They're just shooting them down left, right, and center. They're wasting all their ammo on them. Season 3, they start to say, okay, we got to go in hand to hand. We're running low on ammunition. We got to start using our knives more. Rick did say at the end of season 2, but in season 3, it really feels like the characters are starting to get more used to having zombies around. Whereas in season 2, there'll be scenes when Andrea will get attacked by one zombie, and she'll just freak out. She'll just fall over and start crying and kicking and the whole bit until someone comes through to save her, which is an actual scene in season 2. And there's a lot of stuff like that earlier on of how scared everyone is of the zombies. It's so weird compared to now, where you have characters that are so used to killing them and fighting against them and just kind of just overall kind of grown accustomed to having zombies around. Early on in the series, you didn't have that. So season 3 is like an evolution in the show, I think, where it just got bigger. You had more episodes with 16 episodes versus 13 or 6. You had the addition of more actors, bigger cast to work with, allowing for quite a few character deaths in the season. I'm talking Lori, T-Dog, Andrea, Milton. I mean, that's a lot. Oscar, Axel. There was quite a few. And I did feel like, too, we cared about those characters to an extent. Axel, up until the point in Home when he just gets shot in the head out of nowhere, he seems like a pretty good guy. Versus in season 4 where you just have these people, we just meet them. Next episode, they're dying off or, from this illness or whatever the case may be. We don't really care that much, as viewers. But I really like in season 3 how they added on those characters and how they were really cool. Despite maybe Oscar, who we didn't really care about all that much, to be honest with you. But, I mean, then again, he did kind of save Rick against Andrew, which was cool, if you guys remember that scene. So season 3 was, so far, I think, my favorite season. We'll have to see how the rest of season 4 turns out, but season 3, yeah, probably my favorite so far. Just because The amount of action there was, the character deaths were great, except for Andrea. I would have preferred they didn't kill her off. And the addition of Woodbury and the governor, I just really love that back and forth action, the tenseness of the whole situation, people versus people, rather than always people versus zombies. You had an increased concentration on other characters aside from just Rick. He was going crazy, and you had the Lori thing. But you also had Daryl and Merle and their concentration. You had Andrea, her concentration. You had cutting back and forth between two groups, which is something in season 4 I almost miss, because what they had is a lot of episodes. You'd have an episode with the prison, right? And, like the first few were with the prison, or 2 were the prison, and then you would cut to a whole episode with the governor, back to the prison with all kinds of craziness, and then later on in the season, you'd get cutting back and forth between the two. So you would have, half the episode would be concentration on Rick and those at the prison. The other half would be Michonne and Andrea and what was happening with them at Woodbury, getting to know Merle again, Martinez, and then you have Glenn and Maggie. They kind of get caught up in the mix and captured, and you've got cutting back and forth in the episodes with multiple storylines going on at once and having them all sort of merge together, and then at the end having the huge battle, which I do agree with most people that it was a bit of a disappointment. But because they didn't kill off the governor and they had him sort of lose everything, I really liked how they handled that with a story arc, because you would think, here's what you would expect to happen. You would expect the governor to attack the prison with all the people of Woodbury, right? And then Too Far Gone to occur, right? Like you would expect the season 3 finale to be Too Far Gone, where you have Rick and the others and they just run away and everything. But I liked how they went the other direction, where it was surprising to us that Rick's group actually defended them off. Even though, yes, a lot of people were a little bit disappointed with it. It was a little bit disappointing as a finale by itself, but it allowed for us to have Too Far Gone in season 4 later on, and have the governor sort of build himself back up in this new group that he joins as part of Martinez's group, which was really cool. I really liked in season 4 how they had that concentration of a few episodes on the governor, and had him rise back to leader of this group, and to show how much of a mass manipulator he is, and his skill set of being able to convince people, good people, even like Tara, to attack another group for what they have. And that was just handled so well all the way through, I think. So, plus the governor is such a good character. I don't think of him as a one-season character either. I think of him at least as a couple seasons. Worthy of a villain rather than just one. Because if you think of Shane, he got 2 seasons, right? Even though the episodes were more nowadays, I still really did like how they handled that. So season 3, all in all, it was tons of fun, tons of action, tons of excitement, and just all around great stuff for everybody. I think that season 3, the show really just upped the ante and just became a lot better than what it was before with all of this new addition. I mean, the budget must have increased. It had to have, because you have, instead of just one group at a farm, you got a group at a prison that clear out the whole prison. You got another group at Woodbury, which they have this whole town. I mean, think about the environments and how much those would have cost to make. And just all the actors involved, the cast, the amount of zombies, and everything just up and up and up and up and up. I really thought that was a huge jump from season 2 to season 3, and an increase in quality as well. They really did surpass my expectations for what I thought would be possible for a character like Merle. I mean, when you look at his story arc in season 3, he's such an interesting character all the way through. The lines he's given, just the how much fun he is to watch. I mean, even when he's got the hand, the hand knife thing, the prosthetic knife hand thing, and how he uses it is so cool. Like when he kills walkers and stuff, when he comes up to them and like when Michonne goes to slash at him and he uses it with a knife and he kind of throws it away from her, and when he's chasing after her and he's hunting her and everything. Man, just surpassing my expectations for Michael Rooker's character, that I just thought was like this, he's okay from season 1. Who's this guy? He's all right, too. wow, this guy is really, really cool, really interesting. And I just love the way he stabs the zombies. Like the one zombie's coming up when he's saying hi to Andrea again in the first episode, Blondie, you know, and, and then the zombie comes up on him, and you're thinking, is he going to get it? And he just, doof, and it just goes right through his head. Like he's so practiced at, like he's so good at it. He just takes him out like nothing, all the way through up until the end when he attacks the governor's group with his own little herd, so to speak, and takes out like 8 guys before he's eventually killed at the end. Man, I mean, you know, you got to be a pretty badass to be Daryl's older brother, to be the guy that told Daryl what to do, you know, beforehand. You got to be a badass dude, and Merle is that. He really is. So love Michael Rooker's performance as Merle, just absolutely amazing. He plays both sides so well. He's a good bad guy, you know, especially when he takes Glenn hostage and Maggie, and then as he switches, he's a really interesting kind of anti-hero type guy at the end. So I really love the way they handled Merle, Michonne in season 3, all the rest of the characters. Amazing season, absolutely amazing, and I think out of the first 3, definitely the best. Now the one that I think is most comparable to it in terms of quality and in terms of like which season I think is the best, I won't really be able to answer that until we've seen all of season 4, because we still got a few episodes left to go. But now we'll get into season 4. I did rewatch all of season 4 again for the most part, and upon third viewing, I guess I would say, at this point, after watching the others, season 4, it is a big increase in terms of the amount of zombies. You know, we never saw a herd like we saw with Daryl and the others as they get stopped when they're going for the medication. Amazing stuff. Tyrese, of course, really love what they did with him in season 4. Really interesting character, and Karen and David Carroll, amazing stuff with them. The new addition characters for season 4, I mean, Bob is probably the coolest out of the new characters that we've had, I want to say. A lot of the other new characters they brought on were a little bit of a disappointment. A lot of them were just used as fodder or plot devices for the whole infection thing, which, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I guess I would just like to kind of see a few more new characters be kind of exceptional, be characters that would still be in the story or would be kind of, you know, became something, you know, some badass characters in there. But I guess it makes sense because, too, the characters they took from Woodbury, they were not fighters, right? They were not warriors. A lot of them were people that were defenseless against walkers, were not able to really do a whole lot. So I guess by that it makes sense that they wouldn't survive very long, aside from maybe Bob, who was an addition that was not from Woodbury, I believe. He just kind of, Daryl found him on his own type thing. And we don't really know whose group he was a part of before, but I guess maybe we'll find out something to do with that. But I guess I would just like to see the addition of more characters in the prison that would have been cool, that would still be alive. That said, we do have Abraham, Eugene, Rosita, so they're pretty great additions, and it looks like there may be some new characters coming up very shortly, as Daryl could be running into these bandits, so to speak, or who or whatever they are. We'll just have to see. But at least up until now, for what we've seen from season 4, what I want to say is Too Far Gone is like the true season finale or finale for the governor. You know, and that's something that season 4 has that no other season has, is it has like this just finale worthy of, you know, any TV series would hope to even get close to for a finale. You know, I mean, it's on the same level, probably surpassing even Breaking Bad's finale, which was insane, really well done, is the attack of the governor on the prison with the tank, the dialogue, the writing, the action, the tank, the death, Herschel's death, so impactful, the responses to it, the change in the story afterwards. It really is like the end of that season 3 into season 4 governor story arc that we've been waiting to see for so long. So I really love the way they kind of brought that back and sort of reintroduced it to make sense again, and gave it to us and gave us that final definitive kill them all battle that was worthy of the comic book storyline originally. So that by itself, it goes without saying, Too Far Gone, best Walking Dead episode ever by far. There's no question to me anyway that one is the best. Aside from that, Internment is an absolutely fantastic episode. Great stuff with Herschel in it, and you know, the whole sickness that's going around. Aside from that, I mean, the whole illness thing, it's a little forgettable, I want to say, compared to some of the other things that happen. It's kind of like where we're at now. It's sort of like everyone can just forget about that and just move forward. It doesn't really, I mean, there was a lot of characters that died off. Glenn's still kind of sick at this point. But I would say the illness was okay. It wasn't bad. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like, oh, this is terrible. But it wasn't my favorite thing to watch either in the series. You know, when you consider like them versus zombies or, you know, this type of thing, the illness itself is not my favorite. That said, I do love the amount of walkers we've had in season 4, which is more than ever before. That feels like they've upped the ante in terms of the zombies. The amount of them on the fence and the way the prison changed was really cool to see. Let's see, what else? The environments for the governor and their sort of new camp that we got to see was really cool in those couple episodes. And, you know, I think the majority of the budget was spent in Too Far Gone, to be honest with you, because that one episode right there was so insane. The big spot was cool, too, though. You know, the walkers that fall through the ceiling, the bungee guts walker, really cool. Good stuff there. And, you know, after Too Far Gone, we've had some great episodes as well, you know, with everyone just being all over the place, kind of finding out where they are, bringing in those new characters. I'm talking, you know, Abraham's group with Glenn to see what will happen next, and how everyone's going to kind of meet up again. Concentration on Daryl, even Beth getting some time, which is something I couldn't even imagine back in season 3 or season 2 to see her get that much time in an episode. Let's see, who else? I mean, the whole thing with Rick, Michonne, and Carl was great. Them kind of meeting up again at the house and all that. Awesome stuff. Loved it. And sort of them having a time to reflect on some of the things that happened earlier, which is what we've seen a lot with the characters and how they feel after Too Far Gone and after all these things happened. How Carl feels, you know, him yelling at Rick. How Daryl feels. You know, we've gotten to see some great emotion there, so that's good. And really excited to see how season 4 wraps up. I mean, even though we're not finished season 4, I'd have to say I think it's my second favorite season to season 3. And that's only because we haven't seen the you know, the entire thing yet. I'll probably do a video when season 4 ends on what my favorite season is, again, if it's still season 3, or if the finale from season 4 is so amazing that it actually surpasses it, in my opinion, as the best season. But up until now, I would still have to go with season 3, I think, all throughout. Even though, like I said, Too Far Gone is the best episode by itself, season 3 has a lot of consistent, interesting things that happen throughout it. A lot of great action, a lot of great tension, a lot of great back and forth between Woodbury and the prison. And, you know, that would make it, for me personally, my favorite season overall. But anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on the series. To give it a score, how could I not give the Walking Dead television series a 10 out of 10? I mean, when it first started from the comic book series, I didn't have that high hopes for it. I thought it was going to be okay. I was excited to see it on Halloween when it first premiered, and I actually went out to watch it at a bar, which was fun with Jess. So that was good. But it actually surpassed my expectations by leaps and bounds. I mean, there's so many times when you see something from comic books adapted into a movie, TV series, something else, and it just sucks. You know, there's so many times when stuff gets adapted and it's just terrible. The Walking Dead is pretty amazing that it's something that was adapted, and the TV series is probably made them even more money than the comic book series ever did, and has been even more successful than the comic book series that inspired it, really, which is really strange to see something like that that's that kind of quality. And I feel like the TV series has been. I'm actually glad they didn't decide to try to do movies with it, you know, like to try to do a movie series with it, because I don't think you could do it, you know, as well as, you know, 16 episodes a season versus one movie. I'll take the 16 episodes. As much as I love going to the theaters and how cool that would be, I'll take the 16 episodes. It's really amazing to see week by week. So this one was definitely a long video. If you guys are still watching, thanks for sticking with me. Wanted to sort of just kind of get it, you know, in there in terms of the series, and just do a whole review on the entirety of it. You know, sort of beginning to end, general thoughts on the different parts, general thoughts on the different story arcs that we've been through, and the differences between the seasons, and what my sort of highlights are. Just to kind of go over the highlights real quickly again. Season 1, Atlanta, the group, Rick stuff with Shane and Lori. Season 2, Sophia, and then, of course, Shane at the end. Season 3, for me, highlights Merle, Woodbury, a lot of the stuff with Andrea, the prison, the battle, Daryl's stuff, and the deaths, the big deaths. And then Season 4, of course, Too Far Gone, amazing. The Sickness, yeah, not too bad. And now picking up the pieces after Too Far Gone with some great character stuff. Cannot go wrong. Walking Dead television series, my favorite of all time. Let me know what you guys think about the series as a whole. What was your favorite part, throughout it? What was your favorite story arc, or what sort of stuck out to you as the best parts of the series? And also, let me know what you guys think about this video, which is a really long one, but to try to review the overall series and mention most things in one video, it's going to be pretty long. So let me know what you guys think. Anyway, yeah, up till now, Season 3, my favorite, and we'll see if the finale of Season 4 surpasses it. And after Season 4 is done, I'll do another video titled My Favorite Season of The Walking Dead. Anyway, call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, saying peace.